You can even use that material
Once
for
the
your.
story viewer opens, Hema, you have to type the name of the story. Monumental
Yeah,
Math.
I got it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just sharing my screen so that, host, you just have to, Rupa, go to her share screen and click on the side and you will get,
More than one participant can share their screen.
more than one participant can share screen. There's a share screen option, green color button.
Yes, I clicked
Just click
that.
next to it. Click next to it, not on that, next to it. In the sense, just above
Left
share
click?
screen. No, just a normal click. Just click. You'll get options.
No.
Or do a right click on it and see.
Yes, I did that. It was not showing make.
Okay, make me co-host then.
It is giving me basic. It's allowing only me to share.
No. It will tell you, allow you to allow
I will
others
make
to
you
share.
host. Wait.
Yeah.
1 second.
Not make me host, make me co-host.
Okay. It is telling only host, make host.
Okay, is it? Okay. Okay, make host. I'll just
I'm
do
recording
that
it
and I'll
anyways.
make you host back again. Yeah, wait.
No problem.
I'll make you host back again. Yeah, right.
You can share now, Hema. You're the
Yeah,
host.
now I can share. Yeah. Then I'm also, I made Rupa the host again because in case somebody comes in and all that.
Admit.
Yeah, she needs
Well,
to get that.
yeah.
Admit it.
Okay. Thanks.
So, so when we come back here, this is the story ma'am's talking about, monumental maths. So will we be able to go to the story from here? This is a story. Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So this is a story that we are talking about. Ma'am's talking about this story. So I'm just going to enlarge this thing. So it is about a tome fit for the king. And so what ma'am is suggesting is that, ma'am, how do we look at this and how do we, so this is so beautifully done because it talks about the height of 7 giraffes also.
Yes.
And it tells you everything about the story and how the
30
pyramid is built.
giraffes. I think I made a mistake. As
Okay,
tall as
30
giraffes.
30 giraffes.
And
So it
volume of a cube and the volume of a pyramid, all that.
Yeah. So it's wonderful. So how, ma'am, I would like to ask here as to Pratham has got amazing content. And we
Yes.
also see that we can't, though we are really sticking to our DRP content where we are using that to teach. So where, how and when and how, where can we connect to the Pratham content? What is it that we have to look for in our lesson? And what is it that we have to look for in the Pratham content to connect this? So
Yeah, so
how are we?
Stories, you look at stories which are there and then explore. See, whenever I am free, what I do is I look at the lessons that the next lesson I'm going to take, say, for my student. And since I came to know of Pratham, I start looking through those lessons also. And then I see if there is a connection, I do it. Like what happened with me also after this. Before this, I did another lesson with her from Pratham, which was about discovering an old lady's age, Muttaji's age. And it had a lot of history and a lot of this and all that. And after that, since she said, ma'am, I want you to explain one lesson from my text. And that lesson was about fishermen. It was about fishermen. And something to do with the story of a girl who is, so I think it was a poem, literally. after I had done that poem, and that had a lot of alliteration and, as you said, figures of speech, all that I did with her. Then in Pratham, I found there was a story called Bombay Docks and Bombay Ducks.
Oh yes, Bombay Dogs and Bombay Ducks. It's a very famous story. Yes.
So I after I did that lesson, I did this lesson with her. And she comes from a fishing family. Her father is a fisherman. So she was able
So,
to
yeah.
connect with the story.
So hooking the candidate into reading and into getting into
exactly.
that's how you hook the children into getting interested into reading and exploring, actually more than anything, going and exploring into actually exploring. So and how, when we are looking at it, ma'am, when we're looking for stories, do we only stick to the same level stories, or we can go in the Pratham thing, we can go up and down and search everywhere?
I think we should leave it to our volunteers, to our teachers. I'm sure each person has their own judgment to decide what would be right for her or his student. I think that judgment, we can leave it to them. Because see, when a person with a particular child, or with 2-3 children, they know very well what the child will absorb, what the child will not understand, will not comprehend, what the child will be able to comprehend. All that they are familiar with.
Ma'am, what I was also, that is true, that they have to really understand the level of their children, whom they are candidates, whom they are dealing with. The other question was, like, in Pratham, there is in the content, the resource content, which I just saw, there is while I was looking for this also, and from usual thing, it has got different levels of stories. Like Kanti is rightly pointing out right now, the Pratham content is of a higher level according to the levels that we are dealing with. So those stories, because I think, if you're doing level 4, the level 4 child might be able to read 2 levels lower in the Pratham content, rather than, the same level over there. So there, I think you have to go for those, look at those lessons. And sometimes you can read and read a higher level story and explain it to them, if possible, if the candidate is able to take it in, isn't it?
Absolutely. No, the only thing what I'm saying is, at the end of your lesson at level 4, just look at whether you have achieved your objectives. See, ultimately, what is our objective at level 4? Have we achieved it? Have I been able to make the child read with fluency? Has the child been able to pronounce the words correctly? Has the child comprehended the particular story or the lesson? Has the child been able to analyze certain concepts that were there? Has the child been able to apply certain concepts that were in that particular story or that lesson to other examples?
Yes.
And
yes, and I think also, ma'am, there is a huge bank of resources available for the volunteers other than Pratham. I'm talking about Pratham as one resource, plus there is a bank of resources.
This thing, we have a lot of grammar exercises. I saw that
exercises.
Also.
Yes.
I've been using those.
So how are we, ma'am? We are also thinking of a little bit of parts of speech and, grammar exercises, and a little bit of using of tenses and using of your correct usage of the sentences that you learn, because now they're at this level where they have to apply and evaluate and apply it in different areas, and maybe start creating content on their own, creating their own writing, or creating their own ideas in English, developing ideas in English. So for that, those type of content is important. So how much of grammar do you teach? Grammar, do you access it, or you use, we want to use...
in the lesson itself, if there are a lot of adjectives being used in that particular story, I talk about adjectives. And then one of the things I've realized is children are unable to differentiate between an adjective and an abstract noun. honest,
Yeah.
honesty, beautiful, beauty. They're two different things, but
Things.
they get confused. So abstract nouns was a concept which I had to really go into a little bit of a, she was able to distinguish between proper nouns and common nouns. But when it came to abstract nouns, she got a little, head up. I said, don't worry. Then I told her, adjectives. Okay, now let's look at if that adjective is used this way, it becomes an abstract noun. So after, I think 2-3 sessions, she was able to get that concept. So,
Sorry to interrupt.
grammar is something I think which has to come as part of your lesson. If it is there, something is there in the lesson, like you said, tenses. What is present tense? Something. Now, again, this child has a confusion when she has to write past tense. For example, we celebrated when last year we had this Independence Day. I told her to write something on her school celebration. She, instead of putting it in the past tense, everything was in the present tense. I said, but the Independence Day is over now, so it has to be in the past tense. And then I, explained it to her. So that way, you have to go with the flow of the lesson. If the lesson lends itself to certain grammatical concepts, do it.
Do it, yeah. So
don't force anything onto and make it a grammar lesson.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
For example, in a particular lesson, there were a lot of adverbs. So there I went into what is an adverb and what's an adjective. Adverb and adjective. Again, adjective describes a noun, adverb describes a verb. So if it is there in the lesson, definitely make use of that opportunity and do that part of grammar. If antonyms have to be there, then do antonyms. If synonyms are there, make synonyms.
So ma'am, after doing this, after introducing this concept, though as it is related to the lesson, and we have introduced this grammar concept, and we are giving them worksheets to work on, and then you have to expect them to start applying that knowledge in the sentences that they make and they come back with, isn't it? So you were trying to also put that point across. Ma'am, we are almost like, Meera, do we have some more time, or we'll have to finish at 12 o'clock, right? So I would like to open the thing for anybody to ask questions if they have. So we can do that, or however, what do you say? That was before going for that.
Do we have? Rupa, how much more? Because at the end of this meeting, we'll finish it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is 10 minutes to 12. So we have 10 minutes time to do the question and answer session.
So, no, we have the meeting will last for 12:15, 12.
Right. Meeting will last for till 12:20,
So,
12:15 at least. Yeah.
Okay. So I have one more question, and then we can maybe ask the question answers thing. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, Meera ma'am, one more thing I wanted to ask is that writing, getting them to write, as our program is not tuned into writing. It's basically reading and listening, most of it, and of course a little bit of spoken skills. So writing is the highest order of skill here. So how are we able to, maybe in the same level, how are we able to, I'm talking about level 4 now, I'm not talking about lower levels. So I'm talking about level 4. So in that level, in a level 4, will all the children be able to write, or how are we going to judge them? And do we ask them to write compulsorily, even for sentences or what sentences that they have to write? How are we going to manage that?
I always make her write. What I do is the exercises that are at the back of the lesson, the exercises that are given, the simple ones, that is read and answer or whatever, choose the correct option. I make her write it out. She writes it out. She writes the answer. And then when I give her like words, I pick out, say 10 words. And usually as an assignment, I tell her make sentences of those 10 words. Or I give her sentences myself. Like I told you about nouns or adjectives. I tell her underline the adjectives in the sentence. So I
Okay.
would dictate the sentence, she will write it out, and then she clicks a photo of the exercise and she sends it to me. So
Okay,
I see.
great.
So similarly with similes, metaphors and all, I have posted those exercises on the group also. So she clicks a photograph and she sends. Even when
So-
I've made her write a letter, I've made her write a formal letter, I've made her write which is not part of, I mean, I did my own thing. I'm very sorry about it. I mean, I've not stuck to the framework, so to speak. I
So-
my own.
Ma'am, that's the beauty of
So-
our AASHA programs. We give the
Yes,
teachers
exactly.
freedom to do what they think is right for
Yeah,
their students.
so I thought, let me introduce this, that. So as she started writing nicely, she wrote formal letter, informal letter, sab kuch. So a lot of writing work and reading, and I made her do an elocution also for me. So that is
Superb, ma'am. But so this leads me to this next question. Like, okay, this candidate was able to, or was you already judged that while you were dealing or interacting with the candidate, you realize that this candidate can be taken to the next step forward, and it can be given more content and is able to. But it may not be the case with all the candidates who come over there. So when we are, so that is one of the reasons why there is no set syllabus or a set structure here. And the volunteers, like Kanti rightly said, that volunteers are allowed to mold their lesson according to the candidate. So this whole exercise has been to show that there are different ways that you can approach the candidate. There are different ideas that can be taken up to see that you see that the objectives of the level and what did you set out to teach, is that being completed. And beyond that, if you feel that the candidate is much more smart, or much more capable of taking in more, at that time you try to introduce more things to the candidate. Like you said, writing letters, which we as a level objective, we have put it only in the level 5, where they create that is the highest level of learning, where they start creating their own content. So that part of it, we are not we can just judge and then put it across, isn't? And if suppose the candidate is not able to cope with writing, so what do? We get a smaller paragraph, or what do we do with
just
that?
give them same exercises which are there. They can copy, copy to kar sakte hain. So let them copy and do that exercise,
And maybe orally get them
orally
to
you can do a lot of oral work. And like I said, this child, I made her do elocution. First I asked her to, once I told her, okay, you're going to talk about yourself for 1 minute. That was my first thing. So she spoke. Then I told her, okay, after she finished speaking, I said, these are the places where you could have done this way. You could have spoken like this. You could have done. Then she said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And let me tell you, she speaks Tulu, okay, which is my mother tongue. But I strictly avoid speaking Tulu with her or Kannada with her. I speak only in English. Only when she has a difficulty in understanding something, I lapse into Kannada or Tulu, just to make her understand. Otherwise, most of it is in English. And you won't believe, her best elocution was when I told her to speak on environment. And she spoke for 2 full minutes on environment. Very nice. I mean,
so ma'am, these kind of jamming sessions, we call this jam.
You can do, no?
Yeah.
You can give them
just a minute sessions
and ask them to talk about it.
Yeah. Those jamming session, we call it, no, ma'am, just a minute sessions, where you have these quick talks where you can, or you don't have to give them 1 minute, because sometimes they get overwhelmed with 1 minute.
Okay,
30 seconds.
There are about say 10 different words, new words in that particular story, which the child is learning. Okay. I'm thinking, you give them guessing games, no? I'm thinking of this particular word which is connected with this. which is the word in the
Correct.
lesson.
Lesson.
All these are oral.
Correct. Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah,
write.
like this. So to engage this child to start thinking, basically, so that they will be able to create their own sentences, they create their own, use these words in some other context. So I think that is the exercise that you are wanting to.
Yeah.
Maybe even a half a minute sessions and guessing games.
Many of the things can be done orally. And see, the thing is, I have not seen this child because I'm doing all my sessions on the telephone. And I only hear her voice when she records it, or I see her work when she photographs it. I have not seen the child. I've never seen the child. So that is a big disadvantage in one way, but at the same time, I'm able to hear her, and I know that, she enjoys her sessions with me, and I'm also enjoying my sessions with her. And we do a lot of talking to each other,
Correct. So there is a build up. There is a
So
good.
you have to engage the child. What I'm saying, I'm telling every teacher is, your student, engage the child with different kind of word games, different types of oral activities. If you think the child cannot write, then oral activities, there are plenty. Plenty.
So, ma'am, thank you for sharing such lovely insights on how to go about a lesson. So I would like to ask the audience who are here, who would like to ask questions on whatever thoughts that they want to ask, any doubts that they have after listening to you for such a long time. They can ask for any doubts that crops up in their mind. So I just would ask the audience to ask questions to them. So we'll just wait. You can type out the question, or you can just switch on your audio and start asking questions. Anybody, any questions? There are only very few volunteers here right now.
Yeah, one of them left. I think they had some.
Yeah. So any questions, Rupa?
No, ma'am.
Manasa?
Some things that I've been also doing,
So one thing
similar.
I had in mind is we have to be very careful about how deep we go into grammar, and then because I think we should keep it simple, wherein
As simple as possible.
As simple as possible.
Only communicative grammar or something like that, wherein
Yes.
the
As
child
I
is
said, if the lesson lends itself to some
Yes.
grammar, you do it as a part of the lesson.
So,
because some teachers have this habit of, because we have so many worksheets provided in grammar, they will go there and bombard the children with too many worksheets and stuff like that.
yes.
So what, like how you said, ma'am, the focus should be on making the child read, making the child understand. Also, from a longer perspective, from a long-term impact, that we have to look at how you can make the child enjoy this whole process and
learning,
become a reader, an independent reader. That is also one thing.
Exactly.
Wherein ultimately, once we are out of the picture, the child anywhere goes and picks up the book and wants to read, wants to engage with the book, wants to learn from it. So then I think we can say that we are successful at the end of it. We are no longer required. We made this child an independent reader, an inquisitive reader.
Correct.
I think that should be our long term.
So
Meera, Meera's long-term goal.
Yeah.
So always wanting to make sure.
The thin line that where the teacher should not cross, wherein don't push them too much and make sure, yes, there's a lot of learning happening. On the other hand, make sure they're enjoying the process and they're not scared of the language, they're not bored of this. So I think that also a little bit of focus.
So Meera, my thought on this about making them into lifelong readers is something that what I think ma'am was also trying to say is, like, when we take up Pratham content and try to connect it with the lessons that they have learned. And if the child is not able to read it on their own, or are not able to engage, we just introduce those stories to them So it is better to take 2 levels lower stories, which they can easily read. Else we can read out to them just to show that there is a lot of interesting content connected to those available outside, where they will also go and pick up things and read. So the books which are much more lower, and maybe you can suggest as volunteers, you can suggest that, that is this story which is very similar. Maybe if you get or send them a soft copy of that and say you can read this as an extra piece of content that you can give them. So that can be, that will encourage them to read more. I think that slowly will happen and they'll start reading in the end.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So lovely session by both of you. Thank you. I think this has been one of the best workshops that we have had here at AASHA. There's so much to learn from both of you, and we will put this recording onto our YouTube channel, and our volunteers we have a stream of volunteers who keep coming, who keep going, and people shifting from level 1 to level 4, hopefully. So they can make use of this and then keep the learning going, because learning is endless. Even the teachers can keep adding knowledge.
Yes.
So
I have one
Exactly.
question before we close, please. Kanti. Hello? Kanti
Yes,
is
ma'am.
there?
Yes, ma'am.
Kanti?
Yeah.
Abhi, see, my student is, she just had her exam. So I haven't taken classes for almost 2 to 3 weeks because she had exams for 2 weeks. Today I sent her a message. I said, Ananya, are you ready to take class from Monday? She said, yes. So my question to you is, since she's quite, I would say, at a advanced level, is there some, so shall I download one level 4 test or level 5 test and give it to her?
Ma'am, the level 5 test or level 4 test is not completely ready. So the text is ready, the questions are ready, but we are going to turn it into more in line with our objectives. That's going to take a little while.
So then doesn't matter. Shall I just, do general things with her right now?
Yes, ma'am,
Some more,
please. That will give
because
you a
anyway, the next
decent...
academic session starts only in June, no?
Yeah.
So for 2 months, I can still carry on like that only. No problem.
Yes, ma'am. And another thing is you can also do is, there's a lot of grammatical, the grammar resources are there.
Exactly. So what I wanted to ask you is, Abhi, usko next level pe, I want to promote her to the next level. So what is the
The process is very simple, ma'am. Usually what we do is, till now, we've been just giving them the placement test and then just slowly take to the next level. That's all.
Okay. So is there a placement test? No.
Yes, there's a placement test at the end of level 4.
Okay. So where is that in that Google Drive?
Folder. Yes.
Okay.
And another thing is, it is in a similar line, so it's not any different from any of the lessons.
Lessons.
It's the same
yes.
thing.
So we will do that. I will do that also. And then when your other one is ready, that also we can do before June.
Of course. Of course.
Anna, because this child is a child who's quite, I would say, she's very enthused about learning. I like the spirit. She's
That's
quite
exactly what we aim for, ma'am. I think she got the right teacher.
True that.
Yes.
Student. I feel so happy, because there's a connect, and I am feeling that I'm touching someone's life, and maybe adding a little more into that life. So I feel so good about it.
Thank you, ma'am. But
So-
the time is running out now.
Yes,
Okay,
it's just
Shalai.
9 minutes now.
Yeah.
To left.
so
So let's wind up this session. So I think it is really nice. It was wonderful. I think lots of information, lots of ideas, and lots of sharing. And of course, more questions from the teachers who are actually using it will be really nice. So maybe they can post their questions in the on the YouTube channel, and when they watch this, so that can also be addressed once in a while, or they can post the questions in the group so that that can be addressed, and if they have any doubts, that can be always addressed by the team here. Yeah. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you,
Thank you so
Rupa,
much,
for
Hema
organizing
ma'am.
it.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Meera
thanks.
ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you,
Rupa.
thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you, Hema.
Uh,
Thank
so
you,
much.
Meera.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Meera ma'am.
Really
Bye.
appreciate your time.
Bye.
Yeah.
So we shall end the
Just,
meeting.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.